Well, hey there, internet friends. I wanted to talk today about the idea of killing your darlings. This is something that I think if you've done any kind of creative writing in your life, or even just been an artist in general, you've no doubt heard the expression from teachers and books and anywhere else that you receive advice on creativity. The way that I understood it when I was a kid and all through my teen years as well was basically that you should never be satisfied with the things that you create. You should always look for the stuff that you're the proudest of and seek to revise that stuff endlessly. Because if you're passive about it, if you think it's good, it can always be improved. There's some aspect of this that's very reasonable and helpful. I mean, I think it's good to think about revision in your work and not to assume that the thing that you've created is the best version of itself right out the gate. But the way that it kind of compounded throughout my child and teen years and into my adulthood was basically that I could never feel satisfied with the things that I made. And I felt that to be a good artist, I needed to be an incessant perfectionist. And then I made a feature documentary in the last couple years, and that completely changed my perspective on what it means to kill those darlings. See, we had 90 hours of footage to work with. We spent 6 months just watching through it and notating and creating word clouds and transcripts and deciding what was in and out and what we liked the most and didn't like. And it was really difficult to figure out what was going to be the main narrative of the film when we had so much good stuff to choose from. It was tempting, of course, at first to just choose the sequences that were the most well shot, or the bits that had the most eloquent sound bites, or the pieces that kind of made me look talented as an artist and filmmaker. And there were a couple sequences throughout the process of watching through the footage and deciding what to use that we just knew from the get-go were excellent. There was this one interview with this guy named Nick that we shot early on in the time that we were making the documentary, and from then on, it was the best interview that we ever captured. He was so well spoken and conveyed so many beautiful thoughts in just the best way. Like, there was no other interview that matched how good this interview was. And there were many people throughout the making of the film, especially as we did test screenings early on, who watched that sequence and that interview and said, "That piece is so good. That interview is so beautiful. You should never cut that bit." I'm sure you see where this is going. The thing was that as the film got further and further into production, we decided more and more that this story was about a very specific theme and that we were honing in on 5 main characters to demonstrate that theme. We kept looking for places to put this interview because we were like, it's so good. He's so well spoken. He says so many good things. And we tried putting it there and tried putting it there and did test screenings. And every time people kept saying that interview was great and it was one of the best moments in the film. But wherever the interview was located in the film, people would also say that that section was too slow and dragged. It's one of those cases where sometimes you have to take the feedback that you get on the thing that you're working on and realize that the issue people are bringing up is not always the issue that they think it is. So yeah, we cut that interview. And I think it's going to be a really good deleted scene, and man, it's still such a good piece, but it just didn't have any relevance to the story that we were telling. Obviously, the short version of this is that killing your darlings is not just about endlessly perfecting the thing that you're working on. It's also about knowing when to include something and when to leave it out. But I think even in a broader, more complex cosmic sense around art in general is the process of leaving things out. Whether you're making a documentary or not, art is by its very nature a clarification, a reduction, a naming of reality. You're looking at the beauty and the majesty and the pain and the complexity of the world around you and saying, hey, focus on this part. The people who don't know what they're focusing on or are focusing on too many things usually don't make very good art because they haven't sat down and realized that art is as much about knowing what you're making as knowing what you're not making. Sometimes it's important to know when you've got some solid gold, some lightning in a bottle that you instinctually feel that you should orbit your entire project around. But other times, you know what story you're telling, and you just need to kill some darlings to make sure that that story is told well. Anyway, it's just a thought. I'll see y'all soon.